guys, welcome back to the Calibrate Tuesday DIY channel. Back at you once again on a Tuesday. Hope everybody's doing well. I think in the last live, I streamed from another state. I was out of state, working on some projects down there. And man, I can't tell you how glad I am to be back out of humidity. It was in South Florida, and I was sweating bullets, just not doing anything. That's what I don't like about that place. But I digress. Today, guys, we're going to talk about something. It's a little bit salacious and all that, but sometimes you got to do the salacious stuff out there, right? Over $10 million in merch stolen from Home Depot all over Southern California. And you got to ask yourself, how did they let this happen? It happens all the time, guys. That's why prices go up. Prices go up because of, not just inflation and the economy and stuff, but because of that lower part of human nature that wants to, get something for free, right? Get greedy in it. So, they got to raise prices to account for these losses. And so let's talk a little bit about that, all right? So let's see. Let's dive right into what happened here. It says authorities in Southern California announced the arrest of 14 people accused of running what they call the largest organized retail theft operation targeting Home Depot in the company's history, with 9 facing felony charges. I remember back in the days, you go to the stores and everything was accessible. But now you go into a store today and you gotta, everything's caged up or behind the glass. You gotta call the attendant or whoever, the cashier, to come and open the cage for you. And it's like that in Home Depot right now. It's like everything's caged up. And now I see why, right? Not that I didn't know that there was theft before, but check this out. Let's continue. The suspects are allegedly linked to 600 thefts at 71 different Home Depots, with losses exceeding $10 million across multiple Southern California counties. Wow, that's a lot of dang money for a company to lose. So, I said, well, maybe that's why they got everything caged up, right? Why you got to wait 20 minutes for a clerk to come and open it? It's because of, people stealing stuff. I get it. It says they have basically been able to pull off over 600 different thefts from Home Depots in the surrounding counties. That they must have thought life was grand. They've been making billions of dollars. It doesn't look like anyone is going to stop them, which is usually the case, right? I mean, people like that do this type of stuff, they usually have a certain type of bravado that even pushes them to the point where, hey, look, I'm not going to work a regular job. I can care less about working years to establish myself. So I want the money now, right? So, but you got to give it to them. And this is not advocating any type of criminal behavior or criminal thought process, but to be able to put together a group of people, right, to be all on one page, to go out there and do stuff like this. Because obviously it's not the first time they've done this. If they've amassed $10 million over a span of time, that means that they were, like the term says, organized, right? They had some sort of protocol, some sort of discipline, some sort of schedule, they were good at planning. Eventually, obviously, they got caught. But, I mean, you could take something from even the criminal, right? They just chose to use those, put their energy into the wrong area. Imagine if they didn't do that. They could have probably started a 500 company. I don't know. But, yeah, I remember hearing a lot of stories like this where people would just go around places, just make all this money and say, okay, that I can just do the other way. But I get it, everybody's not gonna be what they call a squid. They're not gonna be what they call a L7. Anyway, but that's just the way the world is. So it says police say a guy by the name of David Powell, he ran a storefront. I won't say the name, which was at the center of the operation. He says he faces 48 felony counts, including conspiracy, organized retail theft, grand theft, receiving stolen property, money laundering, all this. So obviously he was into cleaning money and all that, which was probably business, right? The storefront was probably the money laundering part of it. He remains in custody. He faces about 32 years in prison if convicted, $500,000 bail. But I think, okay, set at $500,000, which means he just needs about 50 grand to get out. I'm pretty sure he had that stat somewhere. He said, Al, the guy we're talking about right now, he had what they call boosters, and they would systematically steal expensive electrical components like breakers, dimmers, and switches, sometimes hitting every Home Depot in Ventura County in a single day. Now, that's organization, right? That's going after it. That's going to get yours, okay? Take the criminality out of it. They know what they were doing. Okay? They had an organized plan, and they had a strategy. And that's why they got $10 million worth of stuff. The stolen goods were then allegedly delivered to his business or home in trash bags or boxes. The boosters remain in custody at a Ventura County jail with a bail set at $250,000. Okay, I'm assuming that's a piece, maybe. I don't know. Check this out. This was kind of interesting. The investigation also led to the arrest of Al's brother-in-law, who allegedly sold stolen merchandise through eBay. His ex-wife and her boyfriend were accused of running nearly identical fencing operations. So you see, it runs in the family. Yeah. Okay. During searches, investigators seized an estimated $3.7 billion in Home Depot property and $800,000 what they described as dirty money from alleged money laundering operations. Yeah, I got to do that. You gotta have, you got to clean the money, right? So you gotta have those operations going, which increases your risk of getting caught, because now you have all these different components of your criminal operation putting you at risk. But it's the only way you have to have these things in place, right? Assuming, I read a lot. Surveillance footage shown by officials suspects in action, including one who allegedly climbed around security measures when Home Depot placed high-value items behind cages and on higher shelves. So this one of them they didn't give a what, and they actually climbed over the cages to get the merchandise. That's what you call not giving a what and going for yours, right? So let's says this wasn't shoplifting. It was a criminal enterprise that allegedly stole billions of dollars, and it was finally stopped. That's district attorney. You gotta say this. Right? Let's see here. Somebody's telling me to check the audio. Are you guys hearing me? Wow, the audio. Oh, that's crazy. Sound is bad. Oh, okay. Can't hear me. Okay, dang. Can you hear me now? Somebody say yes in the chat if you can hear me, please. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, hold on a second. What about now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Oh, this is crazy. Is that better? Can you hear me? Somebody tell me. Can you hear me? Oh, let me see. I think I know what's going on. No echo. Okay. What about now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Somebody tell me in the chat. Can you hear me now? Is it better? That's good. Is that better? Let me get another confirmation, please. Perry Girl Life Notes, Claudette, LYM. Can you hear me? I'm going to start over again. Let me know if you guys can hear me now. Please let me know. Can you hear me now? Well, I'm going to start again, okay, guys? I'm going to start again. Okay, sorry about that. I will start over. Appreciate the heads up. I think I had some audio going on in the on another tab that may have interfered with the audio on this live, but hopefully, okay. So anyway, guys, yeah, I will start over. Okay, so guys, $10 million, over $10 million worth of merchandise stolen from Home Depot. How could they let that happen? That's the title of this. And then I started thinking about it, okay? When I walk into Home Depot, and not just Home Depot, I'll walk into like a drugstore, like a CVS or something, and everything is caged up, right? Like in Home Depot, all like certain power tools and certain sections, they have cages on them now where you can't get to them, right? It wasn't like that before, but now it's like that. I see why now. It's not just inflation. It's not just the economy causing prices to go up. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. I apologize for that. I think, like I said, I had some audio on another tab, and it interfered with the audio on this live. But, yeah, everything's caged up now. And you almost feel like, you're a criminal going into the stores because now you got to call somebody to open the cages for you to get what you need. Not only does that take time out of your day, which is very frustrating because sometimes these clerks, it'll take forever just to come to help you. I talked about that in another live. But the reason they're doing all of this is because you got organized crime syndicates out there handling business in these retail outlets. I mean, pretty much raping them, right? Over $10 million worth of merchandise was taken from Home Depot over the span of I don't know how long. And I'll go over the article again. But I mean, it's ridiculous that this is going on, and that's why prices are going up, and that's why you got to wait so long. So, we got to kind of look at ourselves as a society, and yeah, there's always going to be that criminal element there that wants the fast money. They're not trying to work a 9 to 5. Matter of fact, that's totally out of their consciousness, right? They just. But they're very calculated and very intelligent in their criminal endeavors, right? And that's eventually they're going to get caught and all that stuff. But the risk is worth more than getting caught. So let's dive into this right here. I'll start again. Okay, here we go. Once again, guys, if the sound gets choppy, just let me know again. 14 people arrested in the largest Home Depot theft ring ever. Authorities in Southern California announced on Tuesday the arrest of 14 people that were accused of running the largest organized crime or organized retail theft operation targeting Home Depot in the company's history. So, guys, this is a precedent these guys set right here. 9 of them are facing felony charges. They're linked to about 600 thefts at about 71 different Home Depots with losses exceeding. That means over and above $10 million across multiple Southern California counties. That's a lot of money, people. Okay. They basically were able to pull off 600 different thefts from Home Depots in the surrounding counties. Okay. And it says here, they must have thought life was grand. They've been making millions of dollars, and it didn't look like anybody was going to stop them. And, hey, look, if usually those type of individuals, they have a bravado about them, like we are the ish, as they say. Nobody can stop us. We're clocking millions of dollars, and they were probably living lavishly as well. I'm pretty sure. People like that usually don't stay under the radar. They don't know how to just lay low, right? So eventually they got caught, right? So it says police says David Owl, he ran a storefront, and I'm not going to name the storefront, but this was at the center of the operation. It says he faces 48 felony counts, including conspiracy, organized retail theft, grand theft, receiving stolen property, and money laundering. Okay, got to have the place to clean the money, right? You just can't take dirty money and not clean it. So anytime you have an operation like that, all the components of your operation, including the money laundering operation. By the way, guys, I watch a lot of movies. I don't actually participate in this. So as I break it down, don't think, whatever. I know I'm a brother and all that, but, I just, it is what it is. That's just a stereotype, by the way. And that was a joke. Okay. So for all you racists out there saying, oh yeah, he's admitting that he's into that. He's into criminal activity. We knew it. I knew it. Psych, I'm just, anyway. So yeah, they got these money laundering operations, right? And anytime you have a criminal enterprise and you have all these different components, you get into dirty money, you got to clean that mug. Money laundering operations are in effect. All of this stuff is going to put you at risk of getting caught sooner or later. So I'm assuming that his storefront was the hub of the money laundering operation, and eventually led to his downfall. Says he remains in custody at the Ventura County Jail with a bail set at $500,000 and faces up to 32 years in prison. Was it worth it? Is 32 years of your life gone? Worth it? Was it worth it? You were living high on the hog, but now, I don't know. It says, let's see what it says here. So he utilized what they call boosters. All right, these were his workers or whatever. They would systematically steal expensive electrical components like breakers, dimmers, and switches, sometimes hitting every Home Depot in Ventura County in a single day. I don't know how many Home Depots are in Ventura County, but they were at work, man, in a single day. The stolen goods were then allegedly delivered to his business or home in trash bags or Home Depot boxes. Okay, that's all right. I get it. The boosters remain in custody at a bail set of $250,000. I don't know if that's a piece for each one of them, but that's hey. It says, let's see here. This is kind of interesting. It says the investigation also led to the arrest of his brother-in-law, who allegedly sold stolen merchandise on eBay. His ex-wife and her boyfriend were accused of running a nearly identical fencing operation. I guess they kept it in the family. During searches, investigators seized an estimated $3.7 million in Home Depot property and $800,000 in what they described as dirty money from alleged money laundering operations. Surveillance footage, this is kind of funny, shown by officials captured suspects in action, including one who allegedly climbed around security measures when Home Depot placed high-value items behind cages and on higher shelves. So I know how high those shelves are. They're like, I don't know, it got to be 8 to 9 feet high, possibly 10 feet. I don't know. So they didn't care. Dude was scaling the fences to get what he needed. Okay. Hey, look, you're doing what you got to do. Sometimes they kind of digress a little bit, and I'll jump back to the story here. You can learn something even from a criminal, right? You can learn something from anybody. That's the way I look at things. You'll see a person, a drug addict on the street looking for drugs on the ground, right? Like crack or whatever they're looking for. And they're so focused on that thing, right? They're blocking everything out, looking for that. And when they find it, it's like, oh man, I found it. Look at this. They're laser focused. Imagine being that laser focused on your goals, right? Imagine looking at that and saying, yeah, that's sad, but man, I can look how focused they are, And that reminded me when I said one of the boosters scale the cages. I was like, that kind of reminded me of one of those addicts that you see on the street going for theirs and not giving a crap. You know? All right, let's see. All right, so it's about protecting the well-being and safety of our customers, our associates, and the communities in which we serve. So the larger point of this live, guys, is that, yeah, when prices go up, it's not just about the, like inflation and what, the tariffs and all that stuff. You have another component that we don't think about, which is retail theft or losses and damaged merchandise that causes prices to go up as well. So anytime you have large scale theft in the retail sector, that does affect prices. Let's elaborate a little bit on that here. How theft drives up prices. Direct loss of merchandise. When items are stolen, the retailer loses the revenue from that sale. To recover these losses and maintain profitability, the store must increase the price on other items. So it's not just that one item. They raise the prices in the whole store, right? Just to cover the losses on that one item, okay? Increased security costs is another thing. Higher theft rates force businesses to spend more on loss prevention. Okay, I go into a Home Depot in my area, and there's a individual that I'm like, this person's always walking around, right, looking at me. I said, what you? But then I realized, hey, that's probably the loss prevention person. But man, you don't have to look at me all the time. I'm actually buying stuff. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's a whole nother story. Okay, these costs can include surveillance equipment, that's the cameras, and the anti-theft tags that are on the products, like when you walk out the door and it goes beep, 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 because those tags, right? They got to spend money on all of that. All this stuff costs money. Hiring additional security guards and personnel, locking up more products in cases, which adds labor costs for employees who must retrieve them. So you see how it's just like a domino effect of costs just adding up, compounding, all because of theft. Okay. Higher insurance premiums. That's another thing a business has to think about. Frequent theft and damage incidents can cause a retailer's insurance premiums to increase significantly. Let's see. Okay. What else? Where am I? The business then passes the higher operating costs onto its customers. Widespread economic ripple effect. High rates of organized retail crime can force stores to close in certain areas, limiting options for residents and potentially creating food deserts. A reduction in sales also leads to lower tax revenues for local governments, which can in turn impact public services. These are aspects of, these are effects of why, organized theft in the retail sector that we have, you don't even think about. When you think about it, you're like, okay, I see why this is happening. And it's affecting everybody. Okay, the impact of theft on pricing can vary based on the size and location of the business. Small businesses have a much harder time absorbing losses from theft due to their thin profit margins, right? They're already skating by. So if they get hit by like big time, they're gonna I'm sure some businesses just that can push them over the edge. This forces them to raise prices more significantly, or in some cases go out of business entirely. Just like I said, large chain stores can sometimes spread the cost of theft across many locations, so they can better absorb this type of stuff, right? However, they may choose to raise prices in specific stores or regions within high theft rates, or with high theft rates, those regions, okay? And I guess that's why a lot of stores, they're not in certain areas, right? They're not in the inner city. If you live in the inner city, you gotta travel miles just to get to a store, right? A Home Depot Home Depot is kind of in the inner city. I gotta give them props on that. They're not like they're like some stores that just stay totally away from it. Okay, so it says retail theft is not a victimless crime. The National Retail Federation reported that retail shrink. What is retail shrink? Let's define that. I like to educate my audience. Retail shrink refers to the loss of inventory due to reasons other than legitimate sales, resulting in a discrepancy between a company's recorded inventory and its actual physical stock. So if it hasn't been sold and it's not there, that's what or something, it can't be recorded as a sale. That's retail shrink. Okay, it comes from theft, whether it's internal, employee theft or fraud, or it says accidental causes like administrative and human errors or operational waste. Okay, so that's in a nutshell. That's what retail shrink is. So that cost is distributed among law-abiding customers through higher prices on everyday goods. So yeah. So when somebody's out there getting their bag, in terms of like having their organized crime operation, it is affecting you, the law-abiding citizen who's just living by the book. It's going to affect you whether they go to jail or not. Okay, and that's just the way it is. So, anyway, guys, just a thought. I thought it was interesting to talk about that and give you a little bit more insight on, things that actually affect prices, because you drive around. By the way, when I was down in South Florida, I gotta say their gas prices just make Southern California gas prices look like crap. I'm talking about $2.30 for regular. That part of it was good, by the way. So, but anyway, guys, appreciate you coming on. Hope you got something out of it. See you guys in the next one. Appreciate you. Thank you, Parago Life Knows LYM, Claudette McCoy. Appreciate all you guys coming on in and supporting. By the way, go to calibrate.com. I usually have it in the banner on the bottom of the screen. I don't know why I didn't have it this time, but I'll get it on there next time. If you really want to support, go to calibrate.com. Check out what we have. I got to plug stuff. I got to plug my stuff here. We got some great tool bags for you. We got all kinds of different tools for the house. Picture hanging tools, the Exactac picture hanging tool, which is our proprietary picture hanging tool that's been copied all over the world. It's a great gift item. Christmas is coming up. Get it for yourself or get it for a loved one. And then we're constantly adding to the product line to give you more of a variety to choose from. Okay, guys. So appreciate you coming on, and thanks for supporting. Check me out on TikTok. It's Calibrate Tools and DIY as well. On Instagram, Facebook, same name. Have a good one. See you in the next one. Peace.